When she was 75, Claire Buteluche was asked, "Claire, do you have any regrets?" And she said, "Yes, I should have been a better person, kinder, more tolerant. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I remember a girlhood friend of mine who had a brain tumor and called me 3 times to come and see her. I was always too busy. And when she died, I was profoundly ashamed. I still remember that after 56 years. In the Christian vocabulary, dear friends, there is one word mentioned over 100 times. The word is compassion, compassion. Dictionaries tell us that word means concern for the sufferings or misfortunes of others. I want us to reflect on this word this day, because in our gospel passage, we meet Jesus as a man of compassion. A leper came to Jesus and begged him on his knees. "If you are willing," he said, "you can make me clean." Filled with compassion, Jesus reached out his hand and touched him. Mark chapter 1 verse 40. Another translation says, "feeling sorry for him." That is compassion, feeling sorry for him. In the Lenten hymns, we refer to our Father in heaven as the God of mercy and compassion. That is hymn number 166 in the Cameroon hymnal. Our God is a God of mercy and compassion. But when his children want to take up pet names, they take names like No Pity. Let me say why I shared the story above. Basically, it is because there are some of us listening to this reflection who will end up with regrets for being compassionless, for never feeling pity or concern for the sufferings and misfortunes of others, for being no pities. That is if we do not learn from Luce's experience. If you hide behind the word busy. When your compassion grows cold, even your own friends will die when you claim busy. More than Luce's experience, it is not about your friend or friends. It is about everyone. It is about humanity. It is about the sick. Visit the sick. It is a corporal work of mercy. Some of us would not go to hospital or home to visit a patient because you do not have a gift or something to offer the patient. But listen to this. I think the sick need your presence more than your present. Every 11th of February, as is today, is the World Day of the Sick. The title of the Pope's message for this year is, "It is not good that man should be alone, healing the sick by healing relationships." The word abandonment comes up more than once in this message. The sick are often abandoned. Consequently, the Holy Father calls for closeness to the sick. In the penultimate paragraph, he says, "At this time of epochal change, we Christians in particular are called to adopt the compassion-filled gaze of Jesus. Let us care for those who suffer and are alone, perhaps marginalized and cast aside." The reading from Leviticus chapter 13 tells us how lepers were cast aside and marginalized in Israel. And the gospel passage from Mark chapter 1 tells us how Jesus did not abandon or ignore even lepers. How many people are sick in your neighborhood, in your family, and you have taken them for lepers, ignored them? How often have you visited the sick? Or you are also known as no pity, compassionless. Some of us, especially those that have the means, buy gifts and only send. No, let me tell you this. The sick need your presence and not your present. When finally they die, we stop every other thing we are doing and go to pay what we call our last respect. That is not the last respect. Call it the last disrespect. Respect them when they are alive. Be with them when they are alive. Check on them when they are alive, not when they are dead. That is misplaced compassion. People eat and drink and get drunk at the funeral of one who died of starvation. Churches and graveyards receive more persons from distant places at the burial of one who died alone, one who died of solitude, or call it one who was abandoned by even the family members and next door neighbors. They so attend the funeral so as not to regret they didn't. Combine the time you spent at that funeral and divide in two, and see for yourself if you gave the deceased half of that time. Divide the half again and see for yourself if you gave the deceased a quarter of that time. Jesus identifies himself with the sick and abandoned, and that is why in Matthew chapter number 25 he says, he will remind many of us again only on the day of judgment that whatsoever you did to the least of my people, you did to me. That is after the doom would have asked, where, Lord, did we see you sick and we never cared to visit you? Luce in our story above had the chance to repent for having neglected a friend till the friend died. We too have that chance today, and especially today, else we shall regret not only for 56 years, but eternally in the fire that has been prepared for Satan and his angels. Reactivate your compassion for others, for the sick, for those suffering from enemies' fortunes. You can be a better person. You can be busy yet kinder. You can be kinder if you adopt the compassion-filled gaze of Jesus towards the sick and lonely. God bless you. God